Glad to hear about your decision to settle your insurance claim.
How'd you hear about that? I'm sure Anderson had to run it by you.
She did mention it.
You have lovely breasts.
I beg your pardon?
I said you have lovely breasts.
An odd thing to say.
Yeah, but I mean, why? I mean, you're not just a doctor, right? You can't tell me you just regard them as mammary glands.
No.
You're safe with me, you know.
I know.
Not gonna jump out of the bed and rape you. Did I embarrass you?
Surprised me.
Yeah, and embarrassed you.
I suppose so.
But why exactly? I mean, granted, it's probably weird for a guy to compliment a woman's breasts when only one of them is in bed, but one of the people. Not one of the That's not why you're upset though, right?
You know, I really don't think it helps you to talk like this.
Because I can't do anything about it.
No, I didn't mean that exactly.
I see the way you come in here, Dr. Scott, and leaning over me, tucking in your sweater. It's really amazing how comfortable a woman can be when she's not in the presence of a real man.
I'm sorry if I provoked you.
You haven't provoked me, but... Dr. Scott, you're a beautiful woman. I may only have a piece of knotted string between my legs, but I still have a man's mind. Something weird that I've noticed is that I'll find myself searching for innuendos or double entendres where there are none, flirting with even the youngest of nurses, like some creepy old man. And then they leave the room, and I grow cold with shame. Hilarious, you know. For all this, still have a tremendous sexual desire. Probably found that disgusting.
No.
Aesthetically.
Sad.
I'm serious, you know. About wanting to die.
You will get over that feeling.
How do you know that?
From experience.
Okay, but that doesn't alter the validity of my decision now.
But if we acted on your decision now, you wouldn't have an opportunity to accept it.
I grant you that I may become lethargic, Dr. Scott. I may get excited to get rolled over or to get an enema or to have my teeth brushed. You might say, wasn't it worth the wait? Getting to learn all the different things, like flicking the pages of a book by flicking your eyelids? I might say, wow, yeah, you know what? Actually be proud of my accomplishments, but that doesn't alter the validity of my present position.
But if you became happy.
I don't want to become happy by becoming the computer part of some complex machine. Morally, you need to accept my decision.
Not according to my
And
morals.
what makes your morals better than mine? It's because I'm in your power. You're in power over me, and I say to hell with that. There's some principle that might is right.
I have to go. I was halfway to see
Yeah, I
Mr.
thought you were just
Calderon.
stopping by. Hey, one more thing.
Yes.
You still have lovely breasts!
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I've never had a patient like Ken Harrison before.
No.
He's so bright and intelligent, and yet he says he wants to die.
Well, a lot of patients say that.
I know, but he means it. You know, it's such a calm and rational decision.
Yeah, this morning I was thinking maybe he was coming to grips with his situation when he was talking about his insurance.
Yeah, no, I think that was just to make us happy. He probably thinks if he pretends to plan for the future, we might stop tranquilizing him or something.
Well, that's why I always warn my nurses not to get personally involved with their patients.
And you never do.
Never.
Liar. It's marvelous, you know, I mean, we bring him back to life, give him everything we've got, and we give him his consciousness back, and then he asks, well, how do I use it? So what do? We put him back to sleep.
You know, I always say that if a man can't use his hands, he must be a real dumb son of a bitch to cry. You're just getting your gown all wet. Yeah, poor bastard.
I have reason to believe the grass might be a little greener on the other side. I have reason to believe that if I turn myself inside out.
So welcome back from intermission. I just wanted to tell you this is our last show for this season and tell you a little bit about what's coming up for next season. The first show is going to be Fiddler on the Roof, and we have one of our directors in the house, Kathy McKeecher, as well as Charlotte Jardin will be directing that one. Then we have another director in the house for our second show, which is The Crucible, and that would be Miss Emma Jessica McKeecher. And then the Star Spangled Girl will be directed by William McCoy. We also have My Fair Lady, which will be directed by Jan Sheldon, and Dan Martin, who you will be seeing in this act. And then we have Leading Ladies, directed by Chris Walsh. And,
That's my name.
well, he was here the other night, actually. And I've been bribed to say that one of the best shows of the season will be Young Frankenstein, which is going to be directed by Tom Klein, who was our director for this show. And our final show of this next coming season is going to be Sullivan and Gilbert, which is directed by Nathan Jesse. So we also have audition information posted out in our lobby if anybody wants to actually audition and come be in any of our shows for the upcoming season. So that wraps it up for me, and I hope you enjoy Act 2.
We need all available interns to report to emergency. All available interns report to emergency immediately.
You have a visitor, Mr. Harrison.
Good afternoon, Mr. Harrison.
Afternoon, Mr. Hill. How are you?
Good, good. I had a terrible cold last week. I was flat on my back. I could hardly move. Oh, well, you're looking very much better, by the way.
Oh, thanks. It's the nursing, you know.
I'm glad you realized
I
that.
do, Anderson, baby. I
Well, I'm going to leave you gentlemen to chat.
Thank you, Nurse Anderson. You are looking a lot better, by the way.
do. I think I'm as good as I'm ever gonna look.
Well, I got those papers you wanted. Things are moving along very
That's
satisfactorily.
fine, but I don't want to talk about the
Yeah, but I got that insurance paper that you were.
No, Mr. Hill.
Nurse Anderson said on the phone that she wanted.
I understand, but can you come away from the door, please?
I'm not sure.
Oh, like over here.
Oh.
You work for yourself? You don't work for an insurance company or something like that, do you?
No, I own I have private practice.
So you could represent me generally apart from any insurance claim or anything like that?
Well, certainly. If there's anything I can do for you, you just let me know.
There is.
Yes.
Get me out of here, please.
I'm sorry, I don't understand, Mr. Harrison.
It's quite simple. I want to be discharged from the hospital.
Oh, you mean to another hospital?
No.
Well, they're certainly not going to keep you here any longer than necessary.
You wouldn't think that, but look, I can't exist outside of the hospital, okay? So I want to be discharged so I can die.
And you want me to represent you?
Tough luck, buddy.
Well, what's the hospital's attitude?
I don't really know about it yet, so sorry about that.
This is an enormous step.
Mr. Hill, with all due respect, look, I know that hospitals are wonderful places, and many people with appalling handicaps or injuries, they make decent lives out of it. I respect them. I admire them even, but look, every man's got to make his own choice, okay? And mine is to die peacefully, and with as much dignity as I can muster, and I need your help.
Mr. Harris, do you understand what you're asking me to do?
Yes, I do, but I also understand that I'm not asking anyone to make a decision about my own life or death, just that you represent my views to the hospital. Now, criminals, they can have lawyers that know the criminal to be guilty, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
Don't you think I have as much rights as an axe murderer?
Well, of course. All right, well then the first thing we need to do is to see the doctor. What's his name?
Dr. Emerson.
Dr. Emerson. I will see if I can see him now, and we'll move on from there, okay?
Awesome, you're going to represent me?
Mr. Harris, I will let you know my decision as soon as I've talked to Dr. Emerson, okay?
All right. But you'll come back, right? I mean, even if he convinces you that he's right, you'll come back?
Well, yes, I'll come back.
So why not?
It's just that I'm so busy.
All work and no play makes for a boring day.
Anyway, I hardly know you.
Right! That's why I want to take you out. To find out what goes on behind those blue eyes.
At present, there's this list of bones and organs all getting themselves jumbled up.
Because you're working too hard. afternoon as well.
Mr. Hill,
Dr. Emerson?
come in. You see Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Tragic case. I hope you can get him enough money to ease his mind.
Yeah, that's not what I came to see you about, though I thought it was about that. You see, Mr. Harrison wishes to retain me to represent him on quite another matter.
Oh?
Yes, he wants to be discharged.
Well, that's impossible.
Why?
To put it bluntly, he would die if we did that. And you are asking me to kill my patient?
No. I'm asking you, Dr. Emerson. I am asking you.
You know, Mr. Hill, you're going to come in here and ask me questions, and you're supposed to be representing Mr. Harrison. I don't know what your purpose is in this situation.
Dr. Emerson, I am representing Mr. Harrison's wishes to you and asking for your reaction.
Well, you've had it. It's impossible to let him out of here. That's all you've really come to talk to me
You
about.
can dismiss me like this if you choose to, but I hardly think it serves anyone's interest, least of all that of Mr. Harrison.
I'm trying to save Mr. Harrison's life, and there's no need for you to remind me of my duty to my patient, Mr. Hill.
Or mine to my client, Dr. Emerson.
Are you telling me that you have accepted the job of coming to me to propose a situation that will lead to your client losing his life?
I haven't accepted it, no. I told Mr. Harrison I would come talk to you first, and now I have. And quite frankly, I'm beginning to see why Mr. Harrison is wishing to be represented.
Okay. Let's start again.
Okay?
Tell me what it is you want to know.
Mr. Harrison wishes to be discharged from the hospital. Will you please make the necessary arrangements?
No,
And may I ask why not?
because Mr. Harrison is incapable of living outside of this hospital, and as a physician, it is my duty to preserve life.
I take it Mr. Harrison is a voluntary patient here?
Of course.
Then I fail to see the legal problem why he...
Can't you understand that Mr. Harrison is suffering from depression, and he is incapable of making a rational decision about his life and death?
Are you maintaining that Mr. Harrison is mentally unbalanced?
Yes.
Okay, then would you have any objection if I bring in another psychiatrist for a second opinion?
Of course not. But why not see the consultant psychiatrist here? I'm sure he'll be able to convince you.
Well, has he examined Mr. Harrison?
No, but that can be quickly arranged.
That's very kind of you, Dr. Emerson, but I hope you'll understand if I bring in my own psychiatrist, one whose opinion you're not sure of, before he's examined the patient.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hill.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Could you find out where Dr. Travers is, please? I need to see him urgently. And put me through to Mrs. Eden in legal. Well, put me through to her when she's free.
Hey,
Hey, how was it up on Olympus?
cloudy.
Yeah, I bet. So no joy then, huh?
Dr. Emerson does not want to discharge you.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. So what are we gonna do now?
Mr. Harrison, I'll be perfectly frank. Dr. Emerson claims that you are not in a sufficiently healthy mental state to make a rational decision, especially one of this seriousness and finality.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my position that I am not competent to decide whether or not he's right.
Well, what's gonna help you decide?
Well, I guess I'd like to have you examined by a independent psychiatrist. And I'll take the view of his case and I will advise you accordingly.
Fair enough. Will Emerson agree to that?
Well, yeah, he already has, but I ought to warn you. Dr. Emerson may be taking steps to have you admitted under Section 927 of the Mental Hygiene Law as mentally unbalanced. And if he does that, that means he can keep you here and give you any treatment that he sees fit.
What? He can do that?
He probably can.
And I'm not gonna have a say in it?
Yes, but he needs to get another psychiatrist to sign the paper. And even if he does, we can appeal.
Well, let's get on with it then.
Well, first things first, we need to talk to our own psychiatrist.
Fine, wheel him in.
Okay, I'll be in touch then, all right?
Okay, but hey, one more thing, please.
Yeah.
The other day, I refused to take a tranquilizer, and Emerson came in here and he injected me with one anyway.
find me Dr. Scott, please? I want to see her in my office. Thank you.
You wanted to see me?
Ah, yes, Paul. Do you have a moment?
Sure, what's the problem?
Tough one, really. I have a car accident case. He's paralyzed from the neck down. He's naturally very depressed. He wants to discharge himself, but with the neurogenic bladder and all the rest of it, he won't last a week outside of here. I need some time to get him used to the idea.
Well, how long ago was the accident?
6 months.
That's a long time.
Yes, well, there were other injuries, but we've just about got him physically stabilized. The problem is, he's got himself a lawyer. And if I'm to keep him here, I will have to admit him compulsorily under the mental hygiene law. Will you go see him?
Well, I'll see him, of course, but I'm afraid my signature won't help you.
Well, why not? You're a psychiatrist, aren't you?
Well, that's true, but according to the law, you have to have 2 signatures, and only one of them can come from the hospital where the patient's being kept.
Damn it! It's always another obstacle.
Look, not to worry. I take it you regard this as an emergency?
Of course.
Well then, you fill out the paperwork, and you've got 3 days to get another signature.
Okay, well, there won't be a problem with that, surely.
Well, it depends on whether or not he's clinically depressed.
You don't understand. He's suicidal. He is determined to kill himself.
I could name you several prominent psychiatrists who would not take that as evidence of insanity.
And I can name you several psychiatrists who are evidence of insanity. Look, Paul, I've had a lot of experience in this type of case. I am absolutely sure that I can turn him around, just give him some time. A few months.
Yeah, I understand, Michael.
So you'll see him.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, good. And will you do me another favor? For that second signature, would you try to find an old bastard like me who believes in something better than suicide?
I happen to know an old bastard over at St. Joseph's. Staunch Catholic, I think. Will he suit your purpose?
Sounds perfect.
Okay, well, look, I'll go over his notes and I'll try to drop in and see him.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. And Harrison will be too.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. I was just leaving. I'll try to see him this afternoon, Michael.
Thanks, Paul.
You wanted to see me?
Yes. Ken Harrison has decided to discharge himself.
Oh, no. Although I'm not surprised.
Well, so Travis is going to go see him now.
Travers won't make him change his mind.
I'm going to commit him under the mental hygiene law.
I see. Will Travers sign it?
If he does, we still need another signature. But he knows somebody at St. Joe's that can help us with that, I think.
I see.
I have no choice, Joe. He's hired himself a lawyer, right? It's the only way I can keep him here.
Are you sure you should?
Of course, no question.
But it's his life.
And he's my responsibility.
Only if he's incapable of making his own decisions.
But he isn't capable. I refuse to believe that a man with a mind as quick as his, a man with enormous mental capacity, would calmly choose suicide.
But he has. He's done just that.
And therefore, I say he's unbalanced.
Now, just because we don't agree with his decision doesn't make him crazy. Have you looked at him, Michael? Does he look crazy to you? Christ, he's got no privacy, no sense of dignity. You know, if that happened to me, I don't know if I'd have the courage to live like that either. How about you, Michael? Can you stop playing doctor for a change and tell me if you'd want to live like that?
Don't give me that right to die routine, Joan. We're doctors. We're committed to life. We took an oath. When somebody comes into my unit in his condition, I don't stand around wondering whether his life is worthwhile or not. I don't have time for that. I try to save it. I'm a physician, not a judge.
That's funny, because right now you're acting exactly like a judge.
You must, of course, say what you think, but I am the responsible person here.
I know that.
And I'm sure it's not necessary for me to say this. But I don't want there to be any misunderstanding or confusion later on. Mr. Harrison is physically stabilized. There is no reason why he should die. If he should die suddenly, I would think it necessary to order an autopsy and to act upon whatever was found.
Jesus Christ, Michael. Sometimes you're just a complete asshole.
You are needed in the proctology office. Dr. Cusick, please report to proctology.
Mr. Harrison,
Yeah.
I am Dr. Travis.
You a psychiatrist?
Yes. Does it show?
I don't know. Are you for or against me? Oh, sorry. Does that sound like paranoia?
You would hardly expect me to make an instant diagnosis.
Well, that depends. Did Emerson send you?
I work here at the hospital. Would you say that you are suffering from paranoia?
No.
Okay, well, would you say paranoia is?
I don't know. I guess it depends on the person, really. I mean, any man who's tied to his own sense of security of what is right and can brook no denial. If say if he's a sculptor, then his activity might be defined as paranoia. But if he's a doctor, it might just be defined as professionalism.
You don't like doctors then?
Do you like patients?
Some.
I like some doctors.
So what is it about doctors then?
Well, I think as a profession on the whole, they haven't really realized that the average man's intellect has gone up quite substantially in the last few hundred years. So black magic really isn't much use anymore. And what people need, of course, is information so they can make a proper decision about their own bodies. But as a rule, doctors dole out information like a kosher butcher doles out pork.
Well, that's true. But wouldn't you say that a patient needs medical knowledge in order to make a good decision?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But like take me for example. I was just a sculptor, you know what I mean, artsy fartsy, nobody, no real hard knowledge about my body. But you're a doctor, and I'm pretty sure I'd beat you in an anatomy competition.
Well, I haven't done any anatomy in quite a while.
Right, but I was teaching it every day up to 6 months ago, so it just wouldn't be fair, you know.
Okay, well, your anatomy may be excellent, but what's your neurology like? Or your dermatology, or your endocrinology, or on and on?
Lousy, sure, but to the degree that they bear on my case, I would be grateful for more information, so I can make a proper decision. But you know, it is my decision. Here's an example. Like, say you came into my art studio and you wanted to buy a piece. You said, I want the mother and the child. I'm like, look, man, you know what you're talking about. The texture's bad, the proportions are all wrong, and it should have been made in wood anyway. You can have the marble flamingo. I mean, you'd think I was nuts. I mean, you might respect my professional opinion, but as a mature adult, you reserve the right to make your own choice.
But we're not talking about a piece of sculpture to decorate the living room with here. We're talking about your life.
Yeah, we are. My life.
But your own intelligence weakens your case. Look, I'm not saying that you would find life easy, but you do have resources that an unintelligent person
My own
doesn't have.
intelligence weakens my case, so I can make a well-articulated argument for suicide. That means I ought not to die. What are you doing? What is going on with this compulsion?
I was an only child.
Oh.
Enough about me. Do you have any relationships outside of the hospital? I see you're not married.
No, I'm not married, thank God.
A girlfriend then?
I had a fiance, but I asked her not to come in and see me a couple weeks ago.
She must have been very upset.
Yeah. But it's better that than a lifetime of sacrifice, isn't it?
But if she wanted to stay with you,
If
then
she wanted, come on, doctor. If that's what she wanted, then there are plenty of cripples out there who want and need help. I told her to go to release her. All right, to free her up from the guilt she would feel if she actually wanted to do it.
well, it's very generous of you.
It wasn't generous, all right. I did it for me. My self-respect couldn't take it if I just the object into which people can pour into their masochist tendencies.
That's putting it rather strongly.
It might be, but you're starting to sound like the hospital chaplain, man. He was already in here a couple weeks ago, telling me how grateful I should be to be God's chosen vessel into which people can explore their compassion. That I should be happy. That I should be happy because I make other people feel good when they get to help me.
Well, how about your parents? Are they living?
No. I don't have any living relatives, and that's not that bad actually, because I mean, Christmas and holidays, birthdays, how many hats can you wear? You know what I mean? So, crazy or what?
Well, yes. We'll have to see.
What do you need to see? Why haven't you made up your mind yet?
Well, I'd like to run a few tests.
What kind of test do you need to run? I can tell you right now, my 40-yard dash sucks.
I'd also like to confer with Dr. Emerson.
Yeah, you're going to confer. That's when two doctors cover each other's asses, right?
You seem very angry.
I'm not. Yes. You know what? Yeah, I am. But I'm trying to hold it in, man, because you're just gonna write me off as a manic depressive phase and a manic depressive cycle.
You're also very free with the
Oh,
psychiatric.
come on. Now you're just gonna label me an obsessive hypochondriac?
Look, Mr. Harrison, I wouldn't do that.
Can't you see what a trap I'm in? I mean, can anyone prove that they're sane? Can you?
Look, I'll come back and see you again later.
No. Do not come back here, because every time you do, you're going to make me more and more upset and more depressed. And eventually, you're just going to destroy my mind. So do not come back here.
I'm sorry if I upset you.
Get the hell out of my room, please.
I hate the whole idea. I mean, it goes against all my training and instincts.
Yeah, mine too. But in this case, we're not dealing with euthanasia, are we?
Something very close.
No, something very far away. Suicide.
Well, thank you for a lovely meal.
Oh, no. I'm so glad you accepted. Hey, but tell me, what do you think, or tell me how you would feel if there was a miracle and Ken Harrison was granted the use of his arms for 1 minute, and in that 1 minute he grabbed a bottle of sleeping pills and took them all?
It's irrational, but I'd be kind of relieved.
Oh, come on, that wouldn't go against your instincts? You wouldn't think it was a wasted life and go for the stomach pumps and everything?
No, not if it were my decision.
Or maybe you made sure that bottle of tablets was handy and you not around.
You make it harder and harder.
Yeah.
I might.
But I got an idea. What if we made suicide more respectable? Because every time someone kills himself, there's always a whole lot of legal rigmarole to go through. There's investigations, there's inquests, and so on and so forth. And it's all designed to find someone or something to blame. Now, have you ever heard a coroner say something like, well, we've heard all the evidence on how John Smith was fighting literally insurmountable odds, and he made a courageous decision, and he killed himself. Yes, he killed himself. I record a verdict of a noble death.
No. Well, thank you. It was a very pleasant evening.
Oh, thank you. Me too.
I don't know if I've helped you.
Oh, you have. I've made up my mind.
So, you'll help him?
Oh, yeah. I hope you're not sorry.
No, I'm pleased.
Oh, good. Because I think it's wrong for anyone to try to hand the responsibility of their death to anyone else, and it's wrong for anyone to accept it. And I know Ken's not trying to do that.
I'm glad you made up your mind.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay. Well, good night.
Oh.
Well, I really hope to see you again.
We'll see.
Okay, I'll see you.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey, what are you still doing here so late?
We're very short-staffed.
Oh. Time rabbits on the dip, Kay.
Sorry, we're fresh out. We got elephants though.
So what's for dinner?
Oh, it looks good. Chipped beef.
What kind of wine do I get to wash that shit down with?
You're crazy, Mr. Harris.
Why shouldn't I get to have any wine, huh?
I don't know. I'll ask if you like.
Oh, don't bother, darling. I mean, this hospital is hell-bent on dulling my consciousness, but they would probably think it immoral if I enjoy it. Salty.
You want some water?
Yes, but nothing too red. Just perhaps a Chateau de Toilette. just a hint of Lysol, dear.
We use pine salt.
It's not working, Kay. I think we're gonna have to get that taste bud resuscitation unit in here. Quick, staff, nurse, hand me the orange. Quickly, nurse, quickly. No, nothing, not enough. Now the lemon, nurse. Now the lemon. Not enough, apparently. Quickly, hand me the chip beef, darling. Oh, that shit could kill you. Or it might wake you up from the dead, but don't tell Emerson. I don't want him to have any good ideas. No.
You don't want any more?
No.
Are you sure?
Oh, I'm very sure. I will take some more of the Chateau de Toilette. Thanks.
Go to sleep.
Yeah, but I'd like to leave the light on for a little while, if that's okay.
Okay. Going down? No.
Anderson, she said I could have the light on. Come on.
It's me. Still awake?
Oh, yeah, but what are you doing here so late?
Oh, I had to work late.
What time is it?
11:30.
Boy. All dressed up. Look nice.
Thank you.
Go somewhere or?
I went out to dinner.
Oh, good company.
You're fishing.
Yeah.
Actually, it was good company.
Colleague or something?
No, actually, I had dinner with your lawyer, Philip Hill.
What?